Hey guys, I'm here with the recap of episode 11 of the 100 on CW. This episode was called The Calm and kind of like the calm before the storm. Just a real quick idea of where the last episodes left off. The most important things to remember is that Octavia and Lincoln broke up. Well, she decided to stay. He wanted to leave and get out of the way. His tribe considered him a traitor at this point because of his relationship with her, but she didn't want to leave her brother Bellamy, which is very understandable. And I was really sad, and I'm really hoping that this isn't the end of them and that maybe he didn't leave, or somehow this isn't the end that we see of Octavia and Lincoln. The other thing is, the big thing, the main episode was about, well, this is last week's episode. Keep in mind that I'm just quick recap. The sickness that they gave everybody, everyone was sick. Okay, if you guys remember, Murphy was the one that they strung up and beat up, and then he was upset because they thought he killed Wells, and then they found out that it wasn't him, and it was just like, oh well, and he was like, no, it's not, oh well, and he wanted revenge or whatever. Remember, they banished him. Well, apparently the Granders had tortured him, everything, and gave him a sickness and sent him back to the camp, and so everyone got sick. Um, and then we find out at the end that he's like, he was like, oh, I'm like, making up with everybody when everybody was getting healthier. But then he killed that one guy that was like the main person responsible for stringing him up. So now we know that he's going to be a bad guy. Also, Raven and Finn broke up because Raven obviously could see that Finn was more into Clarke. I think that Octavia is really getting the raw end of the deal, and I'll go into that more once I actually get to this episode. And last but not least, they blew up the bridge. So this episode, we were seeing more on the Exodus. Last episode, the episode before that, we didn't see anything on Exodus. The ship in space. So there were two different locations. Exodus. Well, actually, technically three, because it was Exodus, and then there was two things going on Earth. I'll just do Exodus because that's like the shortest thing. After the rogue chancellor lady, I can't think of her name right now, but after she stole the dropship and crashed on Earth, it somehow it like destroyed the ark. I'm not really sure what happened, but it just ripped off, and like they don't have any power hardly. It's like maybe just running up on backup generators. I don't know, but basically they are SOL. And Kane is in there with some survivors. They contact the Earth monitoring room, and of course Chancellor Jaha is in there, and he's all, oh, we're exporting air to these different places. And he's like, one of the places is the mess hall. And he tells Kane, get the survivors there. Don't worry about us. We don't have a lot of air. We're just going to die. I order you not to save me. Blah, blah, blah. I am so tired of hearing Chancellor Jaha talk about, let me die. I'm going to die for my people. Like, he's so self-sacrificing and so I'll do anything for my people that it's really, really getting annoying. Like, you're not going to die yet. But one of these times, I just really hope that they let him die. That was mean. But he's really getting on my nerves with like every other episode. He's, volunteering to die for his people. And like I said, of course, he didn't die. Kane, who has now become like the Chancellor's champion, and he's like the new hero, even though he was supposed to be like a bad guy. I still don't understand that, but him and the survivors, they all band together in this scene where they're like gonna leave Kane, but then they don't, and they eventually get to Jaha, and now Kane then goes on another rescue mission because they found out that the rogue lady, apparently not everybody crashed with her. There were some people that were still left in the launch room or something like that. And so Kane has to crawl through this heat tunnel, and he gets in there, and guess who's in there? Surprise, surprise, Clarke's mom isn't dead. I knew it. I knew somehow she was going to be alive. I didn't know if it was going to be somehow she survived on the ship and the grounders, or someone else got her, or she was in space. Turns out she was still in space, and she's still alive, of course. And that was pretty much the end of there. It ends with Kane, waking her up and them sitting in there. So I don't know where they're gonna go from there, but that was the last scene, and that's pretty much all that happened on in space on Exodus. Now on Earth, it starts off and Clarke is talking to Bellamy, and they establish that it's been 2 days since they blew up the bomb on the bridge, and they haven't really seen any movement from the grounders, because now that they're in this war, and that's why it's like the calm before the storm. We see a little bit of stuff going on before it gets to the main thing. Well, this is what actually leads up to the main thing. Murphy is helping Octavia in like the meat tent. They got like the meat smokehouse, I guess, where they're trying to smoke all their meat. And basically, we know Murphy sabotaged it and burnt down their all their food supplies. We know it's Murphy because after it's all smoking and everything, then he tries to fight the other guy. We told you not to let it get. We told you to. What did he say? I told you. Me and Octavia told you to lower the flames. And then after they fight and blah blah blah, Murphy walks off with this little like smirk. So we know that he's sabotaging the camp. I mean, I was really upset, and I understood where Murphy was coming from when they attacked him earlier in the season and then banished him. It wasn't fair, and I definitely understand why he's out for blood, but I don't know. And I mean, I guess we kind of knew it wasn't when they just banished him. I knew it wasn't the end of him, but my thing is, I wonder, is he working solely if he's working solely on revenge or if he is working with the grounders. That I don't know, because it kind of tied in like he burnt up all their food and then they have to go searching for food, and that's how Clarke and Finn get kidnapped. So Clarke and Finn and a random character, they just they throw in a random one, and of course they just bring somebody so he can get stabbed or whatever, but he got shot by an arrow. But they realized, this is why I think maybe Murphy is tied into it, because they were tracking animals, but it was like fake animal prints. It was like animal prints that it was animal prints that the grounders had made to attack them and kidnap them. But the reason they kidnapped them, there is no way that Murphy would have known. So maybe he's not still involved with the grounders. Maybe he is. I don't know. But so basically, the grounders kidnapped Clarke and Finn, and they left the kid out there, I guess. But they kidnapped Clarke and Finn because they want Clarke. They know that she's a doctor, because apparently Lincoln told them this, and their healer, I guess, died in the bridge explosion. And there's this little girl, and she's sick. And apparently she was also a warrior in training, so she was out on the bridge. And they want Clarke to fix her. They're like, if you don't fix her, we're going to kill Finn. Poor Finn. He's already been stabbed and poisoned, and now, they're threatening his life if Clarke can't save this girl. I'm going to just pause right there. I hate like the inconsistencies with the grounders. How is it that like they've gone back to this tribal way of living? They just have healers and like medicine men and things like that. But then at the same time, they're speaking like regular modern day English. I mean, I guess maybe just move the plot along, but to me it's ridiculous. Like, it's like one way. I mean, they're riding on horses and things. Like, I don't even understand why they have reverted back to this tribal way of living. I definitely understand that with the nuclear war that there would be, obviously no more modern day technology, which might not be so sure. I'll get back to that in a second. But I just feel like the grounders aren't consistent. Something about them speaking modern day English, but then at the same time they don't understand the little bit of modern medicine that Clarke was trying to do. And yeah, I don't really understand that. But basically, Clarke and them, they can't save the girl. They fail, and then the grounder leader, she tells them, oh, whatever, take Finn and kill him. And I guess they're going to leave Clarke there because they don't have a healer. So the Clarke is in there with the guard, and the guard's like, oh, if you prove yourself, then you can, stay here since we don't have a healer anymore. And then Clarke Man, I was like, Clarke surprised me. Like, like she's so, they call her princess or whatever because, she's just the doctor and she's usually like the no war kind of person. Like, she's like the good side of the leadership, and Bellamy is like the hard ass of the leadership. But lately, she like when it came to saving Finn, she's like crazy. You remember she wanted to torture Lincoln, and now like she killed the guard. Like she had like I guess like a scalpel, and then she just like stabbed him a couple of times and like got him in the neck, and then she like covered his mouth and stuff until he died. And I was like, whoa, Clarke, I didn't expect that from you at all. And she kind of had like this crazed look in her eye, and then after that we see her running off in the woods. Okay, and then back at camp, Raven is so upset because everybody knows that Clarke and Bellamy haven't, not Clarke and Bellamy, I just love Clarke and Bellamy, but Clarke and Finn haven't came back, and she thinks that they're out there, being lovebirds or something, and so she's upset because of course, Finn is her ex-boyfriend, so she goes to Bellamy and sleeps with him. I don't even understand why she thought that was something to do. I'm gonna go and sleep with Bellamy. I'm mad. Bellamy is Clarke's, even though Finn thinks Clarke is his. But no, no, no. Clarke has to be with Bellamy. So I was pretty mad. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I really, really feel for Raven. Like, she's gotten, like, the bad end. Like, she, risked her life to come down there to save her, or yeah, to save her boyfriend and to save the people on the ark, but to come down there and find out that it hadn't even been that long and he was already sleeping with someone else, like it sucks for her, and I can understand her rage, but I don't understand why she thought sleeping with Bellamy was a good idea. And I like, Bellamy, he's like, when she's like getting undressed in front of him, he's like, if you're looking for somebody to tell you no and you shouldn't do this, he's like, I'm not that guy. And of course he does it. And that's Bellamy. And after that, oh yeah, something else important. Monty. He's the Asian guy who's friends with I can't think of the other names, but the two guys, the ones that are always like drinking, or they made the moonshine and stuff like that. But anyways, Monty and Raven are in there because Raven's going to make walkie-talkies for them to help them communicate during this battle with the grounders. And she wants to just strip out the cords from the radio because she's like, oh, the ark is dead. We're not going to be able to get back in touch with them. In the black box that they found of the crash of the drop ship. And he's like, but Monty's like, but here, listen to this. He heard some strange interference. And he's like, and she's like, well, it doesn't make sense. We don't even understand it. And basically, that's not her concern. Her concern is, I need these wires to make the walkie-talkies. And I guess she takes them and she does make the walkie-talkies, because then somebody comes to her and tells her, hey, Clarke and Finn still aren't back. And at first she's like, I don't care. But then they're like, but there was also another guy and he's not back. So now you obviously know that they weren't out there, kissing or whatever she thought they were doing. And so they sent out a search party, and they find the kid in the bushes, stabbed. And he tells them that the grounders took him. And Bellamy's like, well, we got to get him back to camp. And he's just looking like, Clarke and Finn are gone. He's like, whatever. He looks at Raven. He's like, I'm sorry. We got to go back. And they try to contact Monty. And Monty, I don't know what Monty saw. He heard he's like, are you guys hearing this interference? And he sees something and he's like, oh my gosh, or something. And he's gone. Like, we just see his walkie-talkie, and I even think it was his knife. Like, so he just, whatever it was, he just dropped it, and Monty is gone. We don't know where Finn is, and Clarke while she was running through the woods, she got hooked onto a trap and is hanging from a tree. Now, for some reason, I don't think it's the same grounders that have taken Clarke. I think this might be the mountain men that Lincoln referred to in the last episode. But I guess we'll see. The preview was real quick because we're getting close to the finale. There's only 2 episodes left, so the preview, was just 2 quick shots. Bellamy getting everyone geared up with a prep talk to fight the grounders. There was a clip of the grounders and their leader And I think that's it. I think that's all we saw in the preview clip. So we don't know what's happening on space. Besides, like I said, her mom's still alive. And I don't know. I'm guessing eventually they're going to have to come to Earth. My guess would be that next season they are all on Earth. I don't think that it's going to still just be about the kids. I mean, I don't see how it could possibly still be like that, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, I guess that's an episode. I can't wait until next episode. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm hoping that the finale is really good. Even if they leave us on a big cliffhanger, I hope it's worth it. All right, yeah, so I guess that wraps up the whole episode. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Tumblr links in the description. All right, see you guys later.